So we stopped here in the last class. So there were some people after the recording stopped who asked me whether we can explicitly ask the compiler to allow to basically store my variable in a memory location of my choice. So that is a breach of security or authorization that is provided by the compiler. But there are some compilers which are not this strict. For example, I tell you something. This is an operation which I did when I was doing C for the first time. So this says ampersand a equals to, this is a pointer type of type casting, and I want, so and this is a memory address location, and this basically means that I am asking the compiler to store, to consider the address of x to be this one. So I want the compiler to allocate the space for the variable x here. So you see that if you try to compile this, there will be an error. Okay, so this is not allowed by at least this compiler, but I did something similar to this and it worked. So I think I did it some long time back, 2010, or 10 years back. So I was working in Turbo C compiler. This is a Turbo C compiler, which I don't think too many people use, but there it worked. There it worked, and so better not to try that. But of course, you can change the address where a pointer can point to, right? That we have done here. So initially, we took a pointer here, which was pointing to x, and we changed it like this, right? We did p plus plus. Instead of doing this, if you do this, so without doing this, so if you can focus on lines 9 and 10. If I don't do this, and so you see here at this stage, the value of x was 20, right? And if I don't do anything like this, if I change the value of p of x via p, then it will work because the connection between p and x is still there. So let's try to compile this. Let's try to run this. So you see that at line number 9, the value of x has become 20, right? Sorry, line number 10, because after line number 9 I have done this change, right? So this is line number 9. After this I have done this change. I'm talking about the line which is printed on the output terminal, not the line number in the programming code. So this is 9. After this I changed p, basically star p, that is, since p is pointing to x, x is getting changed to 15. After this I'm printing x only. So the address, so someone also asked me, if I change the value of x, will the address of x change? That will not happen, because the address of x is this one, right? 2358860, and it has stayed to this address only till the end of the program. So that is not going to happen. But what you can do, you can change the address at which p points to by p plus plus, which I did, right, in the last class. Then in that case, the link between p and x, which was established by this line, p equals to ampersand x, that will be broken, because then p will point somewhere else. And then you see that when I do this line, this operation, star p equal to 15, then at line number 8 it was line number 9 it was also okay, right? So x is still 20 at 9 and 10. 10 I am printing x, but this is not affecting x anymore. So x, the connection between p and x is not there. because I have done this. So P is now pointing to the adjacent memory location, which is not X, which is something else. So in this case, it is a garbage value. So this can be used meaningfully in case of arrays, which I will show. And I can also do something like this. So what this means is I'm asking the compiler to point to this particular address. So P will now point to this particular address, but this you should not try, because firstly you don't have any idea what is a valid address and what is not, because the compiler is, it is a responsibility of the compiler to find an appropriate space for your variable and basically allocate that particular space to the variable. But here this means mostly that you are allocating, you're basically assigning an address to P, and you're asking P to point to this this address. So this will also change P, and this will also break the connection between this will also break the connection between P and X. So if I compile this, sorry. So you say that the same thing will happen, same thing, I mean, same as P++. So here the, after I do this, P is pointing to this location. You see that 235886. Initially it was what, this location, right? So P was pointing to 235886, right? That's the address of X. Now after I did this, after I did this, after I print P here, so here now, I mean, star P has become 0. So that is some other value, that is not X, right? Though it is printing as, I mean, this message is getting printed, and this P is now this, right? So the address of P is this 2358868, because I have asked the compiler to now point to this address, which is not the address of X, right? So that's why after you do this star P equal to 15, that change is not reflected in X, because after I do this, P is no longer pointing to X. But you should not do this. It is possible, but you should not do this, because you don't really have any idea of what are the valid memory locations, right? Giving after I printed some of the memory location, I had some idea that 2358860 is a valid location. So 68 must also be a valid location. But if I put a random number here, so 100, let's see what happens. The system is crashing because it is a it is an unauthorized. So what happened once again? After 8, it is not working. After 8, it is not printing anything, because after 8 you have done this, right? So it is an unauthorized access to the memory, and you should never do this. You should never do this. At some advanced applications, it is possible that you will be able to ask the compiler to, or basically request the compiler to allocate a space to a particular address of your choice. But that is happening implicitly here. Compiler is doing that. Whenever you are writing this, compiler is allocating a space for X, which is in this case what is it, 2358860, right? And it's putting this value here. But in some other compilers, these values will be different, because now it's possible that this I mean, memory addresses are free. No other process is using it. But in some other cases, it's possible that some other addresses are basically available and this address is not available. Then some other address, I mean, would have been assigned. I mean, basically allocated. Okay, so that's about some clarification. But so pointers and memory handling is a very complex process. So this is not the whole story. I must tell you, this is not the whole story. There are much more into it, so I am not going into that much of details. Because you see that there are books on pointers. So one such example is Understanding Pointers in C by Yashwant Kanetkar. So it is on pointers in C programming language. So you imagine that it's possible to write a book on pointers. So it is possible to spend 1 month of classes on pointers alone. So pointer is a vast topic. So I'm trying to cover the basics, but there can be much more into it, which I'm not covering. And I believe that syllabus is quite large. I mean, given the time period we have, but anyway, we have to live with it. Sorry. So after all this trouble, after all these things, you must be wondering, why do we at all need pointers? What is the purpose of this much of complication, right? So it is possible that we could have used a variable with its name only. What is the requirement of using it via its address? So why take so much trouble? I mean, you must be wondering about this, right? So one possible reason is, before this, in most of the previous assignments or the previous programs which we discussed in the class, in all of the cases, or in most of the cases, we pass the values. That is, we are passing the value of a local variable of one function that may be main to the local variable of some other function, right? So only the values are getting passed, but the local variable of one function could not be modified in the scope of another function. That you could not do, right? That's why if you remember the structure example which I did in the class, there I wanted to modify basically the stock of a book, right? Then what did I do? I had to send a copy of it, and I had to modify the local copy. Then I have to pass back, basically return that copy, so that the original copy is updated. But there are other ways of doing it. One of the ways is by using a pointer. So what is call by value? Call by value means the values of the local variables of one function are passed to another function, but the local variables in the passing function remain untouched by the function to which it has been passed. But there is something else that is called call by reference and call by address. So here the addresses of the local variables of one function are passed to another function. Consequently, the local variables of one function, that is that is from which the function is called, from where it has been passed, are modified in the scope of the other function to which these variables have been passed, right? So this is a very popular example for motivating the use of pointers, especially in function calls. So if any of you did pointers before, you must have come across this example. So let's take an example. The example is, swapping the values of two variables. So we did this in some of our earlier classes, right? So let's okay, let me open. Okay, let me try to open it. Open the code. Not this one. Possibly this one. Okay, so here what are we doing? We're trying to swap the values of A and B. So I'm not discussing the logic of swapping anymore. I'm sure you are aware of it. So here I am printing the address of A and B before swapping, right? Then I am printing the values of A and B. Then I am calling a swap function. Then I am printing the values of A and B after the swap. So I do this using the values, that is A and B, and also I do this using the references or the addresses. So let's first look at the difference. So in the, if you can see this, first we print the addresses of A and B. What are the 2358860 and 2358856, right? Then I'm calling by value. So before swap I print A and B. I pass these values to some function. What is that function? This function, right? So I'm passing the values A and B here, and I'm using a third variable to swap the values, right? Yes. So this is a swapping going on. The same logic is getting used here. So here I am in swap value, that in this function I am printing the addresses of A and B. So these A, so these are local variables, right? So I'm printing their address. So see that these are different from the addresses of original A's and B's, right? 816, 824, right? So it proves that these are the local variables and only the values are getting passed. But the swapping is done, right? The swapping is done. But what is the effect on the actual values? After swap I print, the values remain what they were, right, before swapping. So they remain A equals to 5 and B equals to 10, right? Now we do a call by reference. That is, I pass the addresses of A and B to this function. This function. So it receives values like this. So int star, which means that A is a pointed type of variable, a pointer to an integer. So it can store the addresses. It can store the address of an integer. So that's exactly what we are passing, right? What are we passing? Ampersand A and ampersand B. So what are A and B? A and B are integer type variables. So I'm passing their addresses. There is no problem in that. So I'm passing the addresses of A and B here, and these are pointers to integer. These are pointers to integer. So A is a pointer to an integer, B is a pointer to integer, and A is getting basically the address of the variable A in main. B is getting the address of the variable B in main. Then I'm using a third variable, and what I'm doing, I'm basically storing. So I'm doing the swapping, but with basically star A and star B. So what is star A? Star A means a value at the address of A. So what is A here? Here it is the address of A in main, right? So what is star A then? It is the value of main, but it is accessed through the pointers. So I'm doing a swapping in the actual variables, in the actual A's, and actual A and B in main. So how do I know that? Because you see that in call by reference, in swap reference, so this is the line, I'm printing the addresses of A and B. You see that I'm printing A and B. So these are basically ampersand A and ampersand B passed from main. So I'm printing that, you see, 2358860. So this is in main, right? 2358860, and this is 2358856. So this is same as the addresses of A and B which we printed in main. So that same address is passed here. So we are handling this A and this B. So it is no longer the copies, they are the actual variable. So we are passing by reference or passing by address. So after we have done this, so this function is swap ref, right? Swap ref. So after swap ref, we print A and B. So you see that they have been swapped. Unlike call by value, where after swapping the values did not get swapped, here they are getting swapped. Okay. So this is the power of pointers. So I'm going through the example once again. Please pay attention. So A and B are two integer type variables. So I print their addresses here. So let me run it again. I print their addresses in main here. Then I am passing its values to a function named swap value. In swap value, the values are getting swapped, but this A and this B are different from the A and B of main because their addresses are different. I'm printing the addresses of A and B here. In swap value, right? In swap value, the addresses of these are different from the addresses of A and B in main, which means they are different variables, because I told you that the address is unique. So though they have the same name, they are in different scopes, right? This is in the function swap underscore value. This is in the function main. So these two may have the same name, but they are different variables. So name doesn't matter anymore. The addresses do. So this A and B are the local variables local to swap underscore value. And after swapping, if I print the values of A and B in main, you see that the swapping is not reflected in the variables A and B in main. However, if I pass the address, so here I had passed the values, right, in swap value, but in swap reference, I am passing the addresses, and these are received by pointers, pointer to integers, and these pointers are able to access the variables A and B in main. The proof of that is I print A and B, which are actually the addresses of the variables A and B and main are getting printed here in swap ref. So this, you see that these are the same addresses of A and B as in main. So here the result of swap is visible in main. So in main, actually the variables A and B are getting swapped. So this is call by reference. I hope this is clear, and please keep this in mind. This is a very popular example, and call by reference versus call by values. You will get many instances of this in all the books and all the websites where pointers are discussed. Okay, now we have come to another question which someone asked me. What is going to happen if, sorry, this one. So I did P++ in the previous class, right? P++ means that it is now pointing to a different address, and I told you it is going to point to the next memory location, right? So, but this is not meaningful in this example, but this can be meaningful in case of arrays. So let's take an example which will give you a clearer idea. Not this one, right? Let's take a simple, I wrote a simpler code, I think. Okay. Let me see. Pointer. Maybe this one. All right. So Okay, let's look at it in a simple enough way. Okay, maybe this will work. Let me run it first. Yeah, the code is correct. So let's look at this. Let's look at this code. So I have initialized a initialized an array of 5 elements, 5, 6, 1 to 9, and I already know how to access the values and the addresses of the individual elements. Like I have run it from 1 to 5, basically from 0 to 4. So if you run this, you will see the values and the addresses. Like so I'm printing accesses using array indices, right? So value and address. So what I'm printing AI. I is running from 0 to 4. So 5, 6, 1 to 9, right? 5, 6, 1 to 9 is getting printed and the addresses are getting printed. Now you see that the addresses are contiguous. So contiguous is a term which is used. So integer, it is an integer type of variable, right? So in this particular compiler, it will take 4 bytes. So 4 byte space will be allocated whether or not it is going to use it. So address of basically this is the starting address of A0, that is A0, right? First one is A0, the value is 5, is 2358832. Then the next address, the address of the next element is 2358836. So this plus 4, right? Right. So since 5 will be can take maximum 4 bytes because it is an integer. The next integer is stored at the next memory location for an integer. 2358836, 2358840. So this is going. So this is getting incremented by 4, right? Which means that in array the address, so the elements are stored in contiguous location. So that makes it possible to access them using a pointer. So how we can do that? We can say, we can write p equals to a. So which means that the starting, so p is a pointer and it can point to an integer type variable. So what is a basically? This is actually this. So it is, so A0 is the first element, right? And ampersand A0 is the address of it. So I'm asking P to point at ampersand A0. So that means I will be pointing at 5. Now what I do is if I print point star P, what shall I print? So what is the calculation like? So I am doing star ampersand. So I told you that star and ampersand is going to cancel out each other. So we are left with A0. So I will print A0, and this is the address. This is the address of what? So P is ampersand A0, right? So this is the address of A0. Okay. So let's look at the code. So let me run the code once again because I've done a change, right? Yeah. So this is the line accessing using pointer. So this is the line. Okay. So I'm printing what? Star P and P. So what is it printing? Star P is 5. So the first element, that is 5. If you can look at the array again. First element is 5. So I'm pointing at 5. Address is same one. 2358832. This is allocated by the compiler. Then what I do? I do P++. So in P++, it is moving to the next relevant memory location. What I mean by relevant? Since it is a pointer to an integer, it will basically skip So four bytes will be added to it. So it will basically then point to the next 4 bytes of integer. So it will point to the next integer. So it knows that it is pointing to an integer. So if I do p plus plus, it will move to the next integer because it knows that an integer will take 4 bytes. So it is no point in moving to the next byte, because that will be basically meaningless, right? So we have to move to the next integer. So here, that is exactly what it has done. So I'm printing again. So after p plus plus, I have done basically star p, right? So now p is pointing at 6. So basically now p is ampersand a1, because if you look at a1, its address was 2358836. So this is the same address it is printing here, p. So this star p. So 5 6. So from 5 I moved to 6. Then if I continue to do p plus plus, I will move to 1, then 2, then 9. This will go on, and the address will increase by 4, right? All right. Okay. So since you are not asking me enough questions, let me do something. So let's try to change this value to something else. Let's put it Q, right? And let's put it B. Let's put it float, or maybe double. So let maybe 1.0, 2.0, 3.0. I hope this works. 4.0 and 5.0. Let me see if this is giving me no, it's okay. So it is doing implicit type conversion, right? So let me do a change in the code. Let's do away with this line. Let me do this. LF for float, right? Double, right? I forgot. B. Let me see. Function 9. Yeah, it's working. Okay. What is the price? Okay, good. So far, so good. I'm doing Q equals to what? Aha. Okay, okay. Let me see. No, this is the older one, right? Okay. Q equals to, this will also work. Let's see what happens. I hope I've got the things right. Let's see. Okay. It's working. It should work. No problems in that. So I'm working with Q, right? So Q is a double type pointer. So it is working. 1 2 3 4 5 is also printing 1 2 3 4 5. This is using the array indices, and this is using pointers. That is basically star Q, right? Now you see that. Okay, let me do something else. Double. Oh God, what's happening? How to print double size of function? Will it work? Let me see. There will be an there won't be an error. Okay, so the size of double it is 8, right? Size of int was 4. So from 6a, so here these are, I'm audible, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So now it is a double type of pointer. So it is a pointer what pointing to a double, right? So a double in double array, the size, the number of bytes taken by a double type of a variable is 8 bytes. So the initial address is 68, then the next element in the array is 76. So 68 plus 8 is 76, right? 76 to 84, 84 to 92, 92 to 00. So you see the increment is 8 and same is here. So when you do P++ or Q++, P++ or Q++, you don't have to say to the pointer that you increment by 4 or 8. Automatically, that increment will be proportional. I mean, will be equivalent to the size of the type it is pointing to. So that is implicit. So in an array, so what are the things we learn here in array? The values are stored in contiguous memory locations. Contiguous by mean continuous. So one after another. So after 5 ends, 6 starts. After 6 ends, 1 starts, like this. So basically, the memory is so compiler is giving a memory block of, in this case, how many bytes? 5 into 4, 20 bytes. So in this case, how many bytes? 40 bytes. So that is continuous block of 40 bytes. Advantage of this is that using a pointer you can access. So you can move on to the next thing, next element like this. The disadvantage is that if the memory which you are asking for is very large. So suppose you are looking for an array of 1000 elements of double, 1000 into 4, that many bytes, that much memory may not be available, right? So this is the advantage. I mean, disadvantage of using arrays. Advantages: you can directly access an element by indices, and also you can use pointers to move on to the next elements. So pointers are not really very useful here, but you can of course use it. Pointer, so that will give you the idea of how to access. So firstly, that will make this notion clear that the memory allocations are continuous, and by incrementing a pointer, what do we get? This part should be clear. So this is, I hope this answers one of your questions. Someone asked me in the last class that what do I do if we increment this pointer? What happens if this pointer is incremented? This is the answer to a question. Okay. So this is how we can use arrays and pointers synonymously. So this is an example. This is a pictorial representation of what's happening. So here, suppose the memory addresses are like this: 1000, 1004, 1008 in an array of integers of 5 elements. So 5, 6, 1, 2, 9. These are the elements. This is the values. And these are the addresses, right? So A0 is the first element. A1 is the next. A2 is the next. Like this. Okay. There are more into it. I will take maybe 5 more minutes to do cover this. So you see that when I write this P equals to A, I told you that this is equivalent to ampersand A0. So it is a matter of notation. You just keep this in mind. So there is something else, right? So okay, let's play around with this a little bit more. I could have done this thing also, right? So why am I pointing to the first element only? I can also point to the second element. What's the problem in that? but there will be unauthorized memory access if I do this, because it will then basically point to the other. So let's see what will happen. I have not done this before, so it just came to my mind. So it's working, right? So it has access from 2, 3, 4. So 2, 3, 4, 5 is getting accessed, and these addresses are accessed, right? 7, 6, 8, 4, 9 through 8. So you can do that. So these are, I mean, free memory locations. So it's not that since it is in an array you cannot access the second element. Second element is a variable in its own right. So this is one variable, this is another variable. So since it is represented by an array, it means that you can access all of them using the same variable, that is A, using an index. So that you can also do. And if we want to access the ith element in general, so that is ampersand AI, you simply write p plus I. So in this case, the pointer plus I. So what exactly are we doing? So this will also work, right? This will also work because p equals to b in this case. A is equivalent to p equals to ampersand b0. So basically I'm doing this, right? B plus 0. If I do b plus I, let's see what happens. Same thing will happen. So so it has started from 1, right, instead of 0. So I'm running it from, so I'm basically running it 4 times. I'm not telling the compiler where to start, because I know that since there will be 4 elements to access right now, so I'm running it 4 times by incrementing q++. I could have also accessed the 4th element. In this case, we'll do 1. Let me do it once. So this is ampersand b4. That is valid, right? That is valid also. So this is the last element. So it is pointing to the last element, 5. So this is the notion of accessing the array elements. Ampersand AI means p plus I. So p is equal to a. So these are the things you know. A is an array and p is a pointer to an integer, and you have done this. Right. And how to access the element, that we also know, right? That we also know. So it is using star. Instead of using star,